So now we have our Photoshop file, and it consists of multiple artboards. And the reason why this artboard feature is so great in Photoshop is, especially with something like a presentation design, maybe you're developing a series of ads for social media to promote something, typically want a high degree of unity between each of those slides. They shouldn't look completely different. So things like color, formatting, the positioning of your type, the color of your type, these are all ways that you can create more unity between something that should be seen sort of as a whole, even if they're seen individually. So we know that Artboards lets us do that really easily. The trick is you set up your first design, make sure you're happy with it, and then by duplicating it, you're ensuring that a lot of those similar things, those similar qualities, are propagated from one slide to the next. So now we've got our slides, and now we're going to export them as PDF. So I'm going to go to File, Export, Artboards to PDF. And this is a brand new feature, well, relative to our older version of Photoshop. Now, before I hit any button, I'm going to ask for artboard content only. So if there's other stuff that's sort of slopped off to the side, we don't want to include that. And I also want to make sure that here in the options that I have multiple page documents selected. Otherwise, what it'll do is it'll create a separate PDF file for every artboard. And that might be convenient for certain projects, but for right now, we want to deal with a multiple page document. And then I'm going to click Run. And what it's going to do is it's going to go through each of the artboards I have, convert it to a page in a larger PDF document. And then I click OK. And now I can minimize Photoshop. So it saved into my folder for this project, because that's where my Photoshop document was. And here is my PDF document. You'll notice that it has that PDF extension, and the icon is different as well. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm opening up this file in Adobe Acrobat. And to do that, I'm going to select it by clicking once. Don't double click, but chances are it may open up in preview. So we want to make sure it opens up in Acrobat. So I'm going to right click on this, open with Adobe Acrobat. All right, it's my default. It might not be your default yet, but I would recommend that if you ever get a prompt when you're working in Acrobat to make it the default, please do. All right, so here it's open up in Adobe Acrobat Pro. And I can zoom in and out using these simple little buttons. And I can scroll to view all the different pages. And before we take a look at editing this document, one of the things you can do is you can go to the View menu, this option here, and there is a hard to remember key command for it, full screen mode or Command L. So when I do that, and I don't want it to read anything automatically, so I'm going to click cancel on that. And so now all these little slides are just showing up full screen, and I can navigate through my slides by using my left and right cursor keys or direction keys, nudge keys. Now all of a sudden, I've got a presentation. I didn't need anything fancy. I didn't need to use PowerPoint. And it's super easy to navigate. But what happens if your slides are in the wrong order? The order that the slides become pages in a PDF document is dependent upon their order in that layers palette. And we could have sat there and dragged around our layers into a different order, but let's do it in Acrobat instead. So to escape full screen mode, I can just press my escape key on the keyboard. And now I want to rearrange the pages. So I'm going to go to Tools. So I'm zooming in and out an awful lot. And notice there's a special tool here. It's called Organize Pages. So I click on that. And now I can see all the pages of this PDF document as little thumbnails. And in order to reorganize the pages, all I have to do is click and drag into a different position. Okay, super simple. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to compare your pages to the order, if you move clockwise around that image of the color wheel that we based this exercise on, so that it moves in that order. So you're going to have a primary color, a secondary, primary, secondary, but make sure the colors are logical, that they match that color wheel. Once I've rearranged my pages the way I want them, I've made a change to this document, so I have to save it. File save, and that's it. I'm done. Now it's your turn.